choose to love with freedom to fly. From my heart, where the light keeps shining, and I choose to feel the whole world crying for the strength that we can rise above. I choose love.
Welcome, and thank you for coming today. And I'm here with Larry Reynolds of Grace Healing, and I'm going to represent you in questions for Larry and Grace Healing to help you in your spiritual journey to God. Larry, how can you speak to these people of how they can begin their journey to God and to finding God within?
Well, personally, I feel it is a matter of trust and surrender, because it's not something I chose to do. It's something that came from within me. It's something that came upon me. And then in that process of searching, like the people that may be on watching the video now, they had something rising within. I got to seek, or I got to go to YouTube. I need to watch some videos or something like that. You have to act upon that. And as you do, in my humble opinion, is you have to take great care not to delve into all kinds of religious forums. You need to search for truth within you, find the presence of God in you, and that means you have to touch upon the presence of God, which is reflected in the attributes of God, meaning purity, clarity, wisdom, understanding, grace, peace, unity, all the attributes of God. You start to search and find those from within yourself. And as you do this, you're going to start to find in your journey God presence within your belief structure, within your experiences, within your work life. The challenge is most people go immediately aligning themselves into a religious belief, and then they're willing to accept things that they don't agree with. They're willing to accept things that do not align with God's presence. They accept things that do not align with the nature of God because their religion told them to do it. So then all of a sudden they try to force people into believing their one faith, or they force that they're the only ones and they have the right to kill people that aren't. And to me, that doesn't fit an attribute of the unity of God. So in my understanding, if I was truly seeking God, I would hear these beliefs within a certain faith practice or a certain religious understanding, and I go, that's not God. God is perfect. God is pure. God is, again, unity, love, peace, clarity, discerning awareness. So again, if something's being presented to me that does not fit or associate with any of those attributes, I can't embrace it. So as you're seeking and looking to find God's presence, the simplest thing to do is honestly measure what beliefs have you held to this point. Do any of those beliefs honestly fit the attributes of God? If they do, let's say you have a belief cycle of 100,000 different individual core beliefs, and you find that 5 of them meet the true nature of God, you got to let go of the other 900 and some odd thousand. That's the toughest part of finding God, is to let go of the beliefs you've embraced that do not reflect the nature of God. So it is, if you're truly, honestly here looking at this video because you want to seek and find the presence of God, in my humble opinion, you have to look at your own belief structure first. Find all the things that are in you that do not align with the attributes and nature of God and let them go. In the very simplest ways. Like conversation, you say to somebody, I have a tendency to get so confused. You must release confusion, sit knowing that God's presence within you, and embrace clarity within that same space. It's not just about letting go of the 900 and some odd thousand misbeliefs. It's about replacing those misbeliefs with the presence of God in trust. So if I embrace confusion, the first thing I do is release confusion and embrace God's holy clarity in that place. If I have hatred within my heart. I find that I hate a certain group because I was taught to. I need to release the hatred and replace it with God's love and unity. It's about developing this process of becoming habitually aware of God's attributes, not what I might have believed outside those attributes.
Thank you. There's so much said in that. I hope this answers the beginning of your questions. And thank you for coming. While you're being here and seeking, I know that in prayer you will find that these many beautiful words are true. And I am also getting that another question you may be asking is, can you guide me in some ways of being able to release more easily and receive more easily of God?
That is a process that many of you may know his name as Jesus, but I understand his original name was YahShua. As YahShua taught us, it's like, how do we do this? And the first thing he gave us was the actual Abun statement. He said, this is how you pray. The first utterance out of his mouth after he said how you pray is Abun Dabashmayanit Kadashmak Newe Saiganak Avarang. So as the name Abun, the living breath of God, it's the Spirit of God, the first thing you do in that release or that surrender or that embracing is first the breath of God, the Spirit of God. So when you hear me say the word breath, it's defining the literal spirit of God's presence, the breath that flows through us and manifests life throughout creation. All blessed things of creation return to the very nature that God is the source, God is the sustainer, and God is the completer. That comes through the way YahShua taught us in the Abun. And you've seen it with animals. I mean, you just do that with an animal, and the animal lights up. They know something is happening that they remember, but they can't quite touch in that moment, but they want more of it. So if you would just practice, those you watching, and honestly connect first into the breath, first into the breath of God's Spirit. The very fact that you are breathing proves that God's presence within you, because life cannot sustain without God's presence near. So if you're breathing, you're alive, you're functioning. You're proving the very nature of God's presence. So connect first to know that the breath of God is within you. Breathe it in deep. Recognize that the breath emerged from some place within you, not out here, not the air that surrounds you, but God's presence from within, rising from within each core of every cell, the breath rising and stimulating life within your existence. Life within your being expands. Then your body says, I need to breathe and take air into my lungs. The divine breath precedes the air in the lungs. So in that breath, that's when you touch upon it, and all of a sudden you get, I get so confused. Well, in the breath, it revealed to you that you're willing to accept the reality that you hold on to confusion. Now you personally release confusion. And you embrace in the breath God's clarity within its place. You're about to go to work. It's a new job. Person's heading off to go to work. They feel anxiety. Connect first into the breath, the Abun. Breathe and center first upon God's presence. Relinquish anxiety and embrace spiritual fortitude. God's strength, trust, and faith within you. Now you've moved out spiritual anxiety. You've released fear, and you've embraced the presence of God within that feeling or sense you knew. Anxiousness within the gut, fear within the low back, anxieties within the low back. If you're feeling these senses, these feelings, these sensations, sit, be present. That's the problem in America. We don't spend the time to sit and be present.
So true.
So if you're getting a signal of some kind, I'm a little shook up, you need to be present. Become the breath of God. Relinquish any attribute that's not of God. Then embrace God within that place. And I hope that simplifies it a bit.
That was wonderful. And I thank you. And I hope that you take these beautiful breaths of God and these beautiful truths of love and bring it into your day from this moment on. And all it will do is bless your life. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Blessings.
No, I choose to love where freedom flies from my heart, where the light keeps shining, and I choose to